I think FBI represents a really great part of Sydney and a really integral part of Sydney. Since I started volunteering at the station, I've seen so many Australian acts that have grown to be huge, both in Australia and overseas, that really got their first airplay on FBI, that came into the studio during a music open day, that gave us their demo. And now are household names in Australia.
FBI began once we got our licence from the Broadcasting Authority by a group of really passionate, excited volunteers and staff who came together and worked out what the station needed to be and how to get it happening. So we knocked on doors and asked for people to lend us money to get it started. We found volunteers to start doing the programming. We found staff members and we started building the studios.
So from the 70s and 80s, Double J had been Sydney focused and had been a fantastic outlet for new Australian music and culture based in Sydney. But when Double J became Triple J and went national, it necessarily had to broaden its focus to a large national audience and couldn't be the champion for Sydney. So a number of people stepped in and decided we would create a radio station that would become the champion for Sydney music, arts and culture.
Yeah, I think FBI's carved out a really important place within the Sydney music scene, but even more broadly than that, just as part of, I guess, the cultural landscape in terms of supporting events and gigs, artists, be they musician or visual artists. As a music fan, it's really important for me to have FBI around. It's an alternative on my radio dial. It's a place that I know works with integrity and passion. There are 200 volunteers here that really keep the place running and sort of do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, in high school, I was in high school when FBI began as a thing, and I remember being really excited that it was like a radio station that was kind of focused on really local stuff, and that you could kind of find out about bands that were maybe a little less known or just starting out. So that was kind of really cool to kind of be thinking that you were finding out about other bands that maybe were in the same position as you. It's really cool.
Yeah. And it's nice because it started us off in like a really nice community, because it's community radio, you know? So it started off as like, when we were doing music, we like could meet other people who were doing the same kind of stuff as us, and were around the same level, and we could all hear each other on the radio and that kind of thing, which is really nice.
FBI and community radio broadly are very much the soul of the community, because we are radio by the people, of the people, for the people. There is no commercial objective here. There is no large funding body. We're not funded by a university or a church or any other group with an agenda, albeit good agendas. FBI belongs entirely to the people in Sydney who love Sydney music and who want to celebrate and explore and participate in Sydney music, arts and culture.
I think another aspect that maybe is forgotten as well is the amount of media producers that are around these sort of stations, because you have a lot of musicians, sure, but all the people that are learning the skills for like making radio and making videos surrounding radio, making like little adverts, make like graphic designers doing flyers for concerts, just everything surrounding that is really important. And all those sort of media producers are going to probably go and do bigger and better things, and like community radio can be a really good launch pad for any sort of media career, or anyone that has really good ideas for that sort of thing.
We've always taken risks. We've never worried about where our advertisers will come from. We have never censored ourselves in terms of supporting a business model by compromising our artistic decisions. And that was hard when we were really poor, and it was certainly hard when we were struggling for money. We're in a position now where we still have to work really hard to make ends meet. We work really hard to get all of our bills paid, but we are more stable and secure than ever.
There are some 300 community stations all the way around Australia, and there are some that are quite similar to FBI, and there are also some that have been broadcasting for a lot longer than FBI, and we sort of look to them as the benchmark for community radio in Australia. And when we started 10 years ago, we looked at what they were doing and what we could do and how we could add to the community radio sort of broadcasting sector. How could we try and make a bigger contribution? And I think that's been FBI's kind of mantra for the last 10 years is how can we bite off more than we can chew, and then chew really hard and see how much we can get done with limited resources, very little cash, a small staff, and 200 very passionate volunteers.
Like, I think there's an actual appetite for new music, as opposed to, you know, there's no hindrance to you just coming in and showing them stuff, because FBI really want to hear everything. And I remember when we first started fishing, I just wandered into one of the open days, gave them some stuff, and from there it was like immediately it was played and it was on the beforecast, and so people could hear it just online, and it wasn't just a couple of plays on the radio. Like, they actually kind of supported what we're trying to do, like as a trying to support us as a band and as musicians, as opposed to just just randomly playing songs.
FBI to me has also been an entire career. I mean, I came on here in my very early 20s, and I've spent the best part of 10 years now, so it's really been my home and my family. I've made some amazing friends, and pretty much learned everything that I know. Almost everything that I know has come through FBI. It's a very generous place like that. It's a teaching radio station, so all of my knowledge about programming music, about doing radio or hosting a radio show, all of my contacts and all the people that I've met, and all the bands that have supported us that I've had the pleasure to work with over the years, that's all come from FBI. So it really does open up a lot of doors, not just for me and the other staff, but all our volunteers, and we've had people move through the station and get full-time work, and I think that's a really important part of what FBI does. It presents a lot of opportunities for a lot of people, whether we're playing your music or whether you're volunteering here in the office. There are a lot of good things to come out of this place.
After 10 years of being on air, it's amazing now thinking about the listeners coming to the station who have never known Sydney radio without FBI, and that's an amazing thing that it's now just an integral, connected, dedicated, always there part of the Sydney media landscape.
FBI to me, in 3 words, is great Sydney music. Hipster infested.
Dynamic. Community. Energy. Supportive. Edgy. Art.
Centrelink.
Mistakes. Committed. Experience. Necessary. Sometimes zany.
Independent.
And fresh.
Totally played the wrong track. I just meant to play the first one. Oh well.
Of what band?
That crazy I Digress thing.
Oh.
Don't put this in your stupid documentary, Amelia.